Hey everyone, welcome to Ian and Friends Giro Italia edition. I am FloBikes senior editor Ian Dille.
And I am Michael Sheen. Today we are going to talk about Stage 5 and give you a little preview of what's to come tomorrow at Stage 6. So, what happened today, Ian?
Well, I want to start by talking about what happened yesterday because I feel a little bit remiss for not mentioning that Chris Froome lost some time yesterday.
He did, yeah.
He's now 55 seconds down. He lost another 20 seconds or so in the overall.
If you will remember, he is my pick for the overall, and he is not filling me with confidence right now.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
You know, I still think he can do it. I'm not losing faith, but I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, it's not time to stick a fork in him yet. Anything can happen at the Giro. We all know that, especially in the mountains. There's a long way to go. If we remember a couple of years ago, Nibali was, like 2-3 minutes down with 2 stages to go and came back and smashed everybody. So Chris Froome is certainly not out of it, but he's not looking great.
Yeah, he's not really in his territory yet. We've had 0 shots of Chris Froome looking at his stem so far. This race, I think that we're going to get a lot of that tomorrow, and we'll just see how fast he is pedaling whilst looking at his stem.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we'll get to tomorrow in a bit, but yeah, let's talk about what we saw on the road today. There was a breakaway from kilometer 0. You called it the following the lead car up the road breakaway.
Yeah, Ryan Mullen, just big unit on Trek Segafredo. He was glued on the car's bumper during the rollout, was kind of joking with guys, and then once that car rolled off, he was just full gas. It was actually cool. Velon posted right after his attack. They got his power data, and he knocked out like 1,500 watts or something.
Oh, wow.
Just like from the front of the peloton.
Wow.
It was a big move. Like it wasn't like coming from the back or anything. He just went full gas off the front, dragged 2 guys with him, and then his teammate did the kind of like, wait for me move.
Yeah, Laurent Didier just barely made it across, and I think he maybe burned all his matches getting across to the break because Mullen just drove this thing like this sort of animal he is, time trial specialist from Ireland. And then they sort of get to the point of the race where it's 30K to go, they've got a 2-minute lead, and Didier's turn to light it up, and he attacks, but his attack didn't last very long.
Yeah, it was tough, and I don't know if he felt the pressure, but definitely the pressure was on him. Like, we had been watching this breakaway work for 100 kilometers, 120 kilometers, and everybody knew that Didier was going to have to be the one to attack. He had his teammate working for him the whole time, and he put in the attack and just didn't have the legs.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Androni called him out on his bluff and just went back up to him and counterattacked. And yeah, fair play to that team. That rider had a great race.
Yeah, and then after that, it was pretty much the crashes. About 13K to go, there was a big crash in one of the hairpin turns and took out a number of riders. We saw Pozzovivo come off the back. His whole team had to drop back for him, and it was a scary moment for some of the GC guys.
Frantic times, yes. The finish kind of played out similar to yesterday in that just really, really hectic final 15 kilometers. The crash took out Pozzovivo. His Bahrain Merida team did a fantastic job. They obviously on the radio, they had 4 guys drop out of the field immediately, went right back to him, and Pozzovivo got back up with no drama. One person who we also forgot to talk about yesterday, who I am really impressed with, is Maximilian Schachmann.
Yeah.
German young rider on Edix. He crashed again. Well, going back to yesterday, he crashed with 2.5K to go. Well, he races full gas, about to hit that finishing climb. He managed to ride himself back into the lead group and finish on the same time with all the GC contenders. Like, that shows both a lot of determination and just huge power. And then today, he had the misfortune of having to do it again. Granted, he had a little bit more road in front of him going to the finish, but he was in that 6.5 kilometer to go crash and finished 4th.
Yeah, no, incredible finish again for him today. It's going to be exciting to watch him through this Giro and see how much leash he's given by Edix. It looked like in the finish today, Edix was maybe riding for Stibar. That's sort of what you would expect, but he was the guy that was almost on the podium for them today. So
yeah, and both of these stages, you just have to think, what could he have done in the stage finish if he hadn't been chasing going into that finishing kick? But this brings me back to another concern I have of my picks for the overall Giro is my young rider pick. I was really proud of. I thought it was. I thought I was dialed with it. Miguel Angel Lopez. Now he just rode off into a field.
Yeah, I liked the commentators were saying that he was taking a detour into the agriculture.
He went agricultural, as they said, I think. So, yeah, just kind of missed a turn, went off into a field, and he did not get himself back up to the front of the race. And this is an interesting thing, in direct contrast to how Bahrain Merida handled Pozzovivo's crash. Astana had pretty much nobody go back for him. And we were talking going into the Giro that Astana has so many cards to play. They've just had an insane season so far. A bunch of really strong guys at Tour of the Alps. There isn't a clear GC leader, and it seems like they just kind of rode off Lopez.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a lonely feeling if you're, one of the top climbers in the world. This is sort of a chance for you to prove yourself on GC, and there's 3 guys at least left in that front group that's going for the finish, and Miguel Angel Lopez is just sitting back there by himself, chasing alone. It looked like eventually Sanchez either dropped back for him or maybe got popped off himself. It wasn't entirely clear, but he did have some help getting in the line, but he still lost another minute or so.
Yeah, he lost 43 seconds today, but now he is just shy of 2 minutes off of Rowan Dennis. So that's tough. That being said, Astana, they still have cards. Pello Bilbao is riding a brilliant race so far. He's in 5th overall, along with Tanel Kangert. Me just sitting on a couch commentating, I would have had Kangert drop back and try to help Miguel Angel Lopez, but maybe they know something we don't know.
They don't. I mean, we're pretty much the best armchair team directors in Austin, Texas, at least.
I think so.
Let's talk about this finish. 2K to go. Steep climb. All the players were at the front. I was really surprised to see Pozzovivo, who had been off the back in the crash, was one of the main antagonists on this short, steep climb before the finish. Wellens was right there. But maybe a little bit too close to the front, a little bit too aggressive. We saw the rider who won the stage, Enrico Battaglin, sitting very patiently, well-positioned, sort of in that top 10 bubble.
Yeah, it was not a straightforward finish. I think the climbers like Pozzovivo were hoping that they could kind of break the field up a little bit on that climb, but it just wasn't quite hard enough. And then you had the little downhill run into the finishing kick, so it stayed together. And Battaglin just rode a perfect race. It looked like he was leading out George Bennett for a while, and Bennett got pinched off, and Battaglin just went. And yeah, redemption for yesterday, because he drilled it up to the finish yesterday, went a little bit too early, and he got a stage win today.
Yeah, and this is an impressive rider. It's going to be interesting to watch him race through the rest of the Giro. There's a lot of stages like this that are tricky finishes, lumpy, hilly, technical. And, this is a guy that's won 2 stages in the Giro before when he was pro-continental. And now that he's in the World Tour, this is confidence to have the team working for him in these finishes. He could potentially take a couple more.
Yeah, we'll see. And moving on to stage 6.
Stage 6.
This is the one we've been waiting for the first week.
It's going to be exciting, yeah.
Yeah, Mount Etna, a new road up Mount Etna that's never been used in the Giro before.
Yeah, it's this giant volcano. It's last blew up in 2015, and it's a volcanic rock. It's the scenery is going to be super cool, and then this route to the top it's more technical. It looks like they're taking some smaller, narrower roads, some steeper pitches. So it's going to be an exciting day, and not to mention, there's 30K of climbing.
Yeah,
before the finish.
It is a bear of a finish tomorrow. It's 30K uphill. There is a little descent halfway up before you get to the actual proper ascent of Mount Etna. So that climb starts in earnest with about 15K to go, I think, and it kicks up to, it gets over 10% quite a few times. It kind of kicks and then levels off, kicks and levels off. I think the last 5K is going to be absolutely brutal. 5K to go, you see a good section at 12%, and we're probably going to see some really big moves fly there.
Yeah, and you know, I was surprised today to see at like 30K to go, there was already riders coming off the back of the field when the chase started in earnest to bring back the breakaway. And I think it shows that these guys are tired. You know, they had a huge day on Sunday, a big day mileage-wise yesterday, and just stressful racing, stressful finishes. So.
Yeah, and their rest day wasn't that restful because they had to wake up, get on a flight. I'm not sure. It was like a 4 to 6 hour flight, something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's some tired legs, and we're going to see teams really drilling it, I think, at the base of this. With 30K to go when the road starts kicking up, you know, teams are going to be motoring, and there's going to be some big time gaps.
So who's your pick for tomorrow?
I'm going with Pinot.
Pinot, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going with Dumoulin. He's proven himself in these sort of early mountaintop finish stages. I think he suffers a little bit in the mountains towards the end of a 3-week tour, but if there's a group together, he's got a strong last 1K, so we'll see.
He was nose breathing up the final climb today.
He did look really good today.
Yeah.
All right, well, it'll be exciting stage tomorrow. And don't forget to send us your coffee mugs.
Thank you, Gino from Jersey, for this Segafredo.
And thank you, Madeline.
Cup. All right, thanks for watching.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.